All right, so here up on the screen, you'll see our marketing services team who's on the call today. This is myself, Victoria Burns, and then also Rick Wilson's joining us, and he's over on the right side of the screen there. I started my career with Members First after working for 4 different private country clubs. I enjoyed the digital side of marketing, and I knew joining Members First team would help me make a big impact for many clubs at one time using inbound marketing. Rick also comes from the private club background as well and joined Members First a few years ago to help clubs with inbound marketing as well. Both Rick and I work closely with clubs to help bring new members to clubs and help in their success of marketing. Today on the webinar consists of a PowerPoint presentation, which you're already seeing right now, and it's a voiceover. So Rick and I, you'll hear us speaking live. You as attendees are automatically muted throughout, so don't worry, we're not going to be hearing what's going on in the office there. We'll walk you through the presentation and answer any questions at the end of the webinar. You can see in the highlighted red circle on the right, you can submit questions by typing your questions into the question panel. So feel free to type in any questions throughout, and then we'll just answer all of those questions right at the end. Great. So let's get to the real part of the Blogging for Private Clubs webinar started. Our game plan for today is we're going to start with your club and why they should have a blog. We want to look at crafting content, optimizing your blog, and let's face it, we all want to know that our blogs are optimized right if we're going to be doing it. Best practices from formatting to all over blog best practices and mistakes to avoid, and last but not least, measuring your blog to see success. So you may have asked yourself, why should our club have a blog? For starters, a business blog will provide helpful, valuable, educational, and remarkable content to your target audience. By providing this value, blogs can provide easy and effective ways to draw prospects to your website. When you're considering why your club should have a blog, or even if you've already have a blog and are evaluating it, you want to think about positioning your club as a thought leader. To become effective in your club blogging, you want to establish your club as an authority and a trusted expert in the industry. So you can start by covering important topics in the club industry, such as the golf experience at private clubs. So how do you become a part of this conversation that's happening online and jumping into blogging? You'll want to associate with the questions your potential members or even event hosts are asking at your club. If you have answers and they can find them on their own online, they're going to start coming to you as a trusting source and see that you definitely have this industry knowledge they're looking for. In return, you'll get new leads, members, or event hosts. So I like to just use this example of the golf experience at private clubs. So if we look at the example of you talking to potential new members with a blog post, so you're not verbally speaking to them, but through your blog post, and you use the example here in the screen, the golf experience at a private club. While this potential new member is just in the first stages of looking for a club, you'll eventually see conversion of these types of visitors to leads to members. And in return, they will be happy because you provide value to them even before they walk into your club. So don't forget to delight them in the process of writing these blogs. If you add personality and humor into your content, prospects will be more likely to remember you. And when they do decide to evaluate joining a club, you'll be at the top of their mind. It's important to emphasize that one of the keys to becoming an authentic thought leader in our industry is to leave the promotions at the door. So we know that promotions are definitely something that helps us all, from my past club experience, helps us get those new members in, but some of these ways that you're using this online marketing can really help you to steer away from that and just be real with the people who are interested in you. So even the tiniest sign of being too overly promotional can seriously undermine your credibility as an industry expert. So on the other hand, if people start to trust you and respect you as an industry thought leader, the indirect results will be greater trust in your club, what you have to offer, and ultimately you'll have more club business. So let's drive traffic to your website. Blogging can be an ideal way to increase the amount of traffic your website receives. In addition to providing your audience with interesting or useful information that will bring back repeat business or visitors, blogging can largely increase the amount of index pages and keywords usage on your website that you have, allowing search engines to rank your website higher in search engine results, which we definitely know that's a great thing to have. This helps create multiple entry points into your website from search engines and other sources. So the more often you blog, the more pages will be out there and will help to be successful in directing the traffic to your website. With that being said, of course, your club will want to boost rankings. So by optimizing your blog, you can earn higher rankings in search engine result pages. So get more qualified web traffic and increase conversion rates ultimately. This is one of the greatest reasons to start blogging to begin with. We really want to see the boost in your search rankings so that you can get found online. So create blogs that focus on your potential members or event host. Even an event host would like to see some of this information going out there, but also keep in mind the search engines so that you can get found even more. Naturally integrate keywords into your post. And with that being said, as Rick and I discussed on our last SEO webinar, when you're linking to any pages on your website or even outside sources, you want to use natural language for your anchor text. So avoid spammy or generic text such as best club in the Midwest or click here. Instead, use descriptive keywords that give readers a sense of what they will find when they click on the hyperlink, such as, let's say on a golf page, you have your inline anchor text that says golfing on the North Shore of Chicago. Then that link there that's hyperlinked would go to information that would take them further into more information about golfing on the North Shore of Chicago. So the shorter post, in our minds, seems to be the way to go because people's attention span is so, short nowadays. And it's not bad when you have great content, but the longer your post is, and if you can pick out the important information by scanning through it quickly, this is the type of post that's very favorable to search engines. So when we are linking to other pages or blog posts on your website, it helps search engines crawl your website and create more accurate sitemap. And it also helps your audience discover more about your content and get to know you as a trustworthy, credible source of information, which goes into you being that thought leader. So internal links to other valuable content keep users on your site longer, as my example of like golfing on the North Shore of Chicago, and it ultimately reduces your bounce rate and increases your potential for conversions. Now, we don't want to leave this one out. We all know that we would like to generate leads so that we can get more members in the door, but also just provide a really great service and have success overall in our club. So you want to get more exposure and generate visitors, leads, and customers. So not only are you just looking to create these leads, but by blogging, you're going to attract these visitors and customers over time. So once visitors find your blog, it opens the door to them wanting to learn more. And the overall goal, as I have stated multiple times, is to increase in this web traffic, which will then provide the new visitors, leads, and customers to help you in your efforts to increasing the club's health and success. On this slide, this is a really great tweet I found that I love from Laura. She's an inbound marketer for HubSpot, and it states, focus on the core problem that your business solves and put out lots of content and enthusiasm and ideas about how to solve that problem. You know, at the end of the day, we just need to remember, if you can solve the problem of your potential new member or event host or someone just looking for a club, they will come back to you. And that is how we are going to be able to continue to grow in the health of your clubs. So from here, Rick's going to kind of take over and explain to you a little bit more about crafting content. Rick is our content guru here at Members First and just loves to write. So I'm just going to let him kind of go through some of helpful tips that Rick really has used to see club success. And, please jot down any questions you have during that time.
Thank you, Victoria, and hello, everyone. Like she said, I'm going to start by talking about creating good content and specifically how you can do that through blogging. Definitely one of the toughest things about blogging is choosing a topic. The good news is, though, there's a number of different ways to help you choose a blog topic. To start, performing some keyword research and determining what people are searching for and if it's related to your club is a good way to just get the ball rolling. For instance, if you know that people are searching for, let's say, golf memberships near Boston, you might be able to create a topic from that. So maybe something like why you need a membership to a club near Boston would be a good place to start. You can also use that keyword info to determine a topic if that relates to what they're searching for or answers a question that they're asking. There's also tools, free tools that you can use, such as HubSpot has a great blog topic generator where basically you just plug in the keywords that you've researched and it will actually spit out a blog topic that you can use. I know I use it a lot when I'm kind of having writer's block or just can't come up with a topic. It's a great place to go for that. But when it comes down to good topics, the trick is just to make sure the topic will appeal not only just to your potential new members or event hosts, but people in the industry as well. You don't want to just focus on what's happening at your club. You want to appeal to a much larger audience. So just a few blog topic ideas that you can use, write down. We'll be sending you these slides as well, so you can always go back and look at these. But golf tips from one of your club professionals, you could have them write a blog. Just helping, with a swing tip or putting tip, something like that. You could have your event team talk about tips for hosting an event at the club. You could discuss some hot club industry topics, answer some common questions from customers or members. You could even grab those from comments that are on your previous blog posts. Hopefully you have a lot of people commenting and interacting with your posts. Guest bloggers, you could always have a non-staff member write a blog for your club just to break things up and provide an outside perspective. But you can also feel free to, talk about your club a little bit from time to time. So a good one we see a lot is interviewing members or staff to discuss their experiences at the club, whether that's working there or playing golf there. History of your club, if your club has a lot of history, people want to read up about that. And also a success story from an event or wedding. We're actually going to show you an example of a club that used that as a blog topic. So here's one where a club actually used a popular search question to come up with a blog topic. So the long tail keyword phrase you can see here would be something like, when should I buy new golf clubs? That's a popular search result in Google. So they actually targeted that question and tried to answer that question through a blog post. So this post actually has a great chance to rank high for that question as long as there's not a lot of blogs with that exact title. This one will actually show up close to the top. So that's a great way to go about it, just finding a question that's pretty popular and trying to answer it through a blog post. Here's the one I was talking about where the club shared a success story from a previously hosted event at their club. This is just a great topic to pursue if you don't want to really self-promote, but do it in a more subtle way. So you don't want to be too overboard with self-promoting, that is, but you do still want to get it out that you guys are great at hosting events. This is just a great way to do it. In this particular instance, she wrote about the experience that the event host had and not just the venue itself. So sharing your blog. Once you've written your blog, you want to get it out there. So how can you promote your blog content? Well, you can utilize your existing social media presence to draw attention to the blog. That's a great way to do it. You definitely want to share your blogs as they get published, or even when they're relevant later on down the line. You can always repurpose an old post. So let's say you wrote about fall golf or spring golf, and that season's come around a year later. You can repurpose that old post and use it again, just sharing it on social media. You can also utilize email blasts or your monthly newsletter, and just then include a link to either the homepage of your blog or recent or repurposed posts. Always be sure to link your blog in the main navigation of your website. That's actually a big one. If you have a lot of people going to your website, they'll get to your blog just by seeing it up there in the navigation. So it's definitely very important to have it up there. And when an opportunity arises where your blog might answer a question, especially on like a social media post, it's always good to just link back to a post that answers their question or is relevant to what they're asking or discussing in the comment section. So that's another way just to get some extra attention to your blog. So optimizing your blog. You might be wondering what it means to optimize your blog. Well, it means setting it up in a way that maximizes its performance in search. What you can do to make sure your blog is optimized is, like we said, perform a little keyword research to determine a good and relevant topic. But then with that keyword, you want to include them in the blog post title, meta description, and URL. With the URL, that's normally going to follow the title of the blog anyways. So just by making sure that the title has the keyword in it, that will ensure that the URL does as well. And then finally, always be sure to have the keyword in the blog copy. That's probably the most important one, just to make sure that the stuff you're discussing in the blog is actually relevant to the keyword and answers whatever question people are searching for. Headings and subheadings as well. That just ensures that you stay on track and helps people scan through the blog to find the answers to their questions. So blog titles, that's another important way to properly optimize your blog. It's just a good way to make your blog attractive and actually clicked on if you're sharing it on social media, especially you want a good title. I'm sure you've clicked on plenty of blogs where just the title alone catches your eye. So some ways to make an attractive title is to focus on being actionable. So something that teaches them how to take an action, like how to plan a club wedding. Being keyword conscious, focus on appealing to a geographical area, like why should you join a golf club in, let's say, the Boston location. Being clear and brief, so signifying that the blog is going to be short. Like Victoria said, people don't like to read for too long. They want to get in and out. So if you say like 3 ways to eliminate your slice, they know, there's only 3 topics in here, so they're probably going to get through it pretty quickly. Or something definitive, like the easiest way to organize a fundraiser, and also intriguing, something that generates curiosity, like the #1 reason to join private clubs. Like, again, that one tells you that there's one answer to their question, that they're probably going to find it pretty quickly, so they'll probably click on that title. A final important piece to ensure that your post is properly optimized is to include a relevant call to action somewhere in your post. So you can see in the image to the right, we have a call to action down at the bottom, download the holiday menu package. So if you're writing about, just the industry and you want to find a way to work in your own content, you can always just do a little segue paragraph like we have at the end there, and then work your way into a call to action that brings people either to a relevant page on your website that's, in line with the topic of your blog, or let's say you have a brochure or a holiday menu like this one does. That's a great way to get some extra eyes on that and promote yourself in a more subtle way. So when it comes to formatting, you want to make sure you're writing in a way that appeals to the user, and you want to make sure your blogs are easy to read and understand as well. Like we keep on saying, people read less and less now, but they still rely on blogs to get them their information in a quick and to the point manner. So always remember to not make your post longer than it needs to be. People want to digest the content quickly and efficiently, so making sure you're not dragging out a key point just to add length for the sake of it. If it is a deep topic, make sure it's easily scannable, so use subheadings and bullets that make the topics throughout the post pretty clear. Use white space and images as well. This will help break up the text and make the blog a little easier on the eye of the reader. And be sure to utilize bolding and italics to highlight important statements in the blog as well. So we've talked about optimizing your blog and how to create some good titles and everything. Victoria, would you like to discuss some of the overall best practices when it comes to blogging?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rick. We're just when you're starting these blogs or you're continuing on your blogging efforts right now and putting all of the optimization and formatting best practices to use, we want to make sure you use the overall best practices of blogging as well. So your buyer persona is your target market that you want to reach for the club. You want to keep them in mind as you ask yourself, what do they want to answer, or what do I want to answer for them, I guess I should say, and what are they interested in? Don't think of just what you offer at the club. You don't want to just put that information out. You want to put out stuff that's going to be engaging and answers their questions. So start with 1 or 2 posts a month, and we encourage you to work up to a post a week. Of course, we would love to see clubs posting even more than that, but when you're starting these efforts, make it achievable goals so that you can see continued success over time. If you start seeing that you're going into additional topics when you're writing, you start on one topic and then you expand to writing on a little bit off track on that topic, you want to make sure that you create a different post out of that and just stick to one topic per blog post. Don't overlook the importance of formatting that Rick has talked about. Using formatting to draw the attention of a reader and keep them there is super important. And we all know that we like good visuals too. So last but not least, again, just reiterating Rick talking about CTAs. Use your CTAs and subscriptions as opportunities to gain leads for your club to see new members and event hosts in the future. So we can't go without talking about measuring your blog. We know we all love to track numbers and things that are happening in the club, and this is one area that you shouldn't miss as well. So when it comes to measuring the success of your blog, start with viewing your article views and your click-throughs, and set goals for you to see increase over time. As much as we'd like hundreds of followers in the first few months, it'll take some time, so set realistic goals, and the quicker you start, the faster you'll get there for sure. As you have your blog up and running, you're going to be able to start measuring your blog success by subscriptions, those sharing your blog post, and the comments you're getting. Also, it's great to look at what is most popular as you go. So gauge how to keep your audience really engaged and use more of those types of posts based on who the author for the post was. So say Rick was the author and then I was the author. Maybe people are really liking the type of content that Rick is putting out. Be aware of that and maybe increase some of his posts versus mine. I'm still blogging, but if they're really drawn to that, pay attention to it and then look at the content overall and see what people are liking to make sure you're increasing that as well. At the end of the day, don't expect overnight success. It will take time to build on seeing results from blogging, and that's when setting those additional goals to increase the amount of blogging is really important.
Well, we've gone over everything that you should do, so it's probably important to discuss some of the things to avoid while blogging. To start, you want to avoid monotonous blog topics and titles. Sometimes it's hard to find something unique and exciting to write about, but a little keyword research and thought can go a long way. You can start by thinking about some specifics like the seasonality. If it's spring, write about spring golf. If it's fall, write about fall golf. If it's engagement season, write about weddings. So it's pretty easy if you just put a little deeper thought into it and just think about what's relevant at that time. Remember to not always write about your club as well. You want to position your blog as an industry thought leader like we talked about and discuss some topics that apply to someone that might be a member of another club or they're just willing to share your article with other people and give your blog some exposure. So it's not just appealing to people that are potential leads. It's appealing to people in the industry as well. And don't forget to always promote your blog. Be sure not to forget to post your blogs on social media, share them through email, and like we said, always have a link on your website, whether that's in the navigation or somewhere in your website.
Oh, sorry guys, I was talking and I was on mute. This here is the blogging editorial calendar, and we're going to give this to you as a free resource. It's just an Excel document, and it'll help you get started with planning and scheduling of when you would like your blog post to go out, the topics and titles that you're going to use, the content, the keywords you're targeting, the persona that you're trying to reach, and different offers and CTAs that you want to include at the end of your post or in your post overall. So what you'll see here is we just mock this up as twice a month. So you'll see a Monday, Thursday as an example, and then there'll be blank spots, and then you can adjust the due dates, the publish dates. We just did a 3-day spread on due dates and publish dates. Then if we look at the first example, it's how to plan a club wedding. And in this content, we want to explain the benefits of having a wedding at a private club. The main keyword that we're trying to focus on is golf club wedding. And you can use multiple keywords, but you know, when we get going, you know, don't use any more than 2 to 3. This one, having one is just fine too. And then our target persona who we're trying to reach is Mary, the mother of the bride. So types of, let's say your club really has a lot of mothers who plan the weddings. That's really who we're trying to reach with this. And then an offer that we have at the end is a free guide to planning weddings 6 months from your big day. So this is not something that's just specific about the club, but it's just they're in this awareness stage of, hey, we're going to be planning a wedding. We haven't done this before. We need as much information as we can, and you're going to become a very credible, trustworthy source by providing different types of content for them and offers through CTAs. Such as this type of free guide. So we've given you multiple examples of some blog posts, different offers and CTAs that we have, content, you know, just you're putting a snippet of the information in there so that when it comes to actually writing these blogs, it doesn't take you too much time. You already kind of have a plan and an outline where you're going, and then you can see that continued success over time of who's successful with these blog posts, you know, what your viewers are really liking, and that's a great way to start. So when we send you that, please let us know if you have any questions. It's a really great resource, even if you are already blogging, just to help stay organized with it. And you know, you can always add to this sheet as well if you want to put in any of your reporting on there. That's always great to see too. So then that is the meat of our blogging webinar today. And what we'll do is we'll take questions. If you have any questions right now, feel free to put in the question box. We have quite a few that have come in. So we'll get started with those here in a moment. And then we'll go from there. Rick, I don't know if you would like to start with the first question there.
Sure. Could you read it to me? I don't have it.
Oh yeah, sorry. What do we use to start a blog?
That's a good question. So I assume they mean like a blogging platform. There are plenty of blogging platforms out there. Some of the more popular ones, Blogger, WordPress. I know Wix is a popular one as of late. Here at Members First, we use HubSpot and WordPress. Those are our two go-tos. But there's plenty out there. If you just do a little Google search for blogging platforms, you should find quite a few that are free to use and can get you started. But I know Blogger and WordPress are the two popular ones right now.
Great. The next question is, and I'll take this one, is it okay to just always blog once a month forever because we don't have enough time for more? I know it can be overwhelming, I would say, to think of adding on something extra to your marketing at the club, and we don't want to discourage you from not trying at all, but we all are also going to, really encourage you to increase it. So it's better than nothing for sure, doing once a month, but we strongly encourage you to increase the frequency as you continue to be able to show success metrics. So you have to think about what your ultimate goal is. If you want to generate more visitors, leads, and customers like we were talking about earlier, the less you blog, the less you're indexing pages to be able to drive traffic to your website, and Google just isn't going to pick it up the same way if it's just a once a month thing forever. So you really do want to make a plan to see an increase there. And then Rick, it looks like the next question's about keywords. Do you want to take that? I know you're great with those.
Sure. Yeah. What's the question?
How do I get keywords?
How do I get keywords? Well, we actually discussed this a little bit on our last webinar on SEO, so if you can get your hands on that, feel free to reach out to us. We can always send it to you, but we talk about it a little bit on there. There's a few different tools. You can always Google it like you do with the blogging platforms, but Moz is a great tool to use. That one's free. So basically all you have to do is plug in just a few keywords that you might already have in mind, and it will actually make recommendations for other keywords that you can use. So, if you're looking to write a blog about golf and you type in golf club and then your location, let's say it's Florida, so golf club Florida, it'll actually come up with recommendations for other variations of those two keywords, and then hopefully give you some other ideas that you can plug into either a blog topic generator or just start crafting your own blog titles from there. But Moz is definitely a good one to use since it's completely free. There are other ones that you can pay for as well.
Great. Let me see here. Next question. Rick, I don't know if you want to answer this one. How do you avoid spam comments on your blog?
There are ways to monitor. So normally when you get a comment on your blog, you'll probably get an email it'll notify you that someone commented on your club blog. So right from there you can tell if it's spam or not, and go in and delete it if it's definitely spam, or if it's a legit comment you can keep it. But you can actually get those comments sent to you live and in real time, so that you can keep up on that kind of thing and make sure that they're taken down right away. There's also ways to turn off commenting altogether if that's something you don't want, but we recommend keeping it on, as it's a good way to engage with your audience as well.
Okay, great. We have another question coming in. Thanks so much, everyone, for sending these in. Do I have to have an author for each blog post, or can it just be from the club? This is a great question, and I was wondering if anyone would ask this, and the answer is yes. First, make your company a human with personality. It shows you have a wide range of talent at your club, and it helps build that trust, loyalty, and engagement with your blog. This also is really great for building employee retention. When employees know that their personal brand is tied to their professional writing, there's more effort that's put into the quality of their posts, and it's also a great way for them to express themselves. So we want to encourage that at the club, and we want to see, everyone who's writing success in their careers too. So don't be consumed with, maybe someone will potentially leave the club and we shouldn't have them as a writer. We don't want to do that. We want to put some trust in them and then give them those opportunities, because that's how you're going to see the most success. And ultimately, it also helps your search ranking. So if it's helping your search rankings, why wouldn't the club take advantage of Google's algorithms that rank blog authors based on their prominence? So you have to think about it like overall blogs, not just in our golf industry and the club industry. They're being ranked this way. There's no exception to us that we shouldn't do it that way. That's how you see successful blogs happen. So we would really encourage you to make sure that you have authorship in all your blog posts. So then the next question here, Rick, I'm going to take, it says, what advertising restrictions are there for blogging with private clubs and protecting tax status? So I guess I would just, to keep this one real short, we want to avoid publishing pricing and focus on making the content educational instead of sales focused. There's nowhere in this presentation that we would really encourage you necessarily to just be talking specifically about your club. We're talking about getting out information that they're looking for. And when I say information they're looking for, I don't mean, can you please give me your rates and all the list of all your information. If you have a content offer that's gated behind a form and they're interested, that's what we do in our inbound marketing. If they're interested in receiving that information from the club, that's the club sending them that information. But in these posts, and read back at the examples that Rick has given too, they're not based on anything that would, hurt your tax status. And, if you do have concern on that, we do encourage you to make sure that you speak to your club lawyer or anything like that, but like you're looking for golf tips and advice from golf professionals, or tips on hosting events, hot club industry topics, common questions from your customers or members. Just to list a few more, responding to comments or questions from readers. So say someone's asking you questions in one of your blog posts, you're getting some engagement, then you start seeing which keywords you can pull out of there to create a post. Different interviews from members or staff of their experience of the club life, history of your club. You're just sharing what would be on your website of how great your club is, and that's what people want to see online. They're looking to find out all of that information, and it's really great stuff to be able to digest and share with others. And then let me see, Rick, 1 second. Let me go down to the next one here. We have a ton of questions. Feel free to keep going if you like. We have a little bit more time, so we'll go through a few more. Rick, I'm going to pass this one over to you. It says, how do we come up with blog topics?
Well, again, that slide that we showed earlier that you just went through, I can actually pull it back up on the screen if that helps. These are some good ones just to get started. But like I said, using that blog topic generator from HubSpot, if you actually just Google HubSpot blog topic generator, it should be the first thing that pops up. I use it a ton. It helps me come up with topics when I just can't think of anything. So if you just put in just a few words that, if you have at least a general direction of where you want to go with your blog, and just type in a few words, it should spit something out that will help you either use that blog topic or come up with a different one. But just knowing what your keywords are is a good start, and then from there it should be pretty easy. And like I said, seasonality comes into play too. If it's the holiday season, write about holidays. If it's summer golf, write about summer golf. You can also, look at other people's blogs, see what they're writing about. Definitely don't copy them, but, it might at least steer you in the right direction.
Great. Thanks, Rick. Make sure I'm not on mute still. A few more questions coming in. So it sounds like the blog is housed, developed, and maintained completely separate from our Members First site. Is this correct? We use 2 different platforms, and we use WordPress, and then we also use HubSpot. These would be in addition to your website if you want to start blogging, but we would use this integrated with your URL to blog from your site as well. So that's definitely an option for you. The next question, these are just quick ones, Rick. I'll just take these. Will you be sending the PowerPoint presentation to the attendees, and are you recording this? Yes, we are. So we'll make sure to send that to you as well. You'll get a follow-up email, and with the holiday weekend, we'll make sure we know you're all going to be busy on Monday, so we'll make sure that you get this as well with the PowerPoint presentation and the recording and the free resource as well. And let's see, Rick, what else we have here. Our superintendent already has a blog. Should we create a new one? I would say we would recommend that your club only separates and maintains, or only operates and maintains one blog. In really big organizations, when they have a lot of different topics to discuss, we would recommend multiple blogs, but especially for clubs, it would be better for you to just make sure that you're organizing them by, let's say grounds, golf, different topics, if you have event posts, you can have the topics in there, and then people can go right to those as well. So it's confusing for readers as well as administrators if you have multiple blogs, especially when you're trying to integrate them right on your website and get as much traffic from it as possible. But this is an example. I know a lot of clubs, and most of the clubs I work for had a blog from a superintendent, and they write a lot about what's happening on the course, and that is great information. But we want to bring those topics that Rick and I were just discussing into that blog. So if people aren't just looking to read that information, you have a lot of other topics for them to talk or to read and learn about. And the other great thing is you're using that for your members too, for them to find out more information about what's happening on the golf course. And in return, they'll start reading your blog posts as well, and potentially start sharing. And that's a whole nother way that you're going to have that outreach to their friends who will be your new members in the future as well. So you just want to use categories with groups with similar content, so people can just use the filters as they desire, different topics that they're using. Let me see if there's anything else here. We'll give it just one more minute. If anyone has any other questions, you can go ahead and submit them. All right, we have another one here. This might be the last one unless anyone else submits one more. This question is, what is the recommended number of images per post? I would start with saying there isn't necessarily a recommended number. If your posts are longer, you'll want more photos to break up the text. If that's the type of post you're trying to, publish. But like Rick stated in formatting, it kind of depends on what they're looking for. So, in one post you might have a lot of bulleted lists or some numbers or, different bolding, and it's really easily scannable, but it's a longer post and it isn't as visual. That's okay too. there isn't like an exact formula to it, but if you are using photos, you could just be doing more of a visual blog, and then there's supposed to be more photos. So just keep it within reason, I would say, and make sure you're using high quality photos so that they look great. And then you'll want to make sure to optimize and use the alt text on each photo as well, so that you can have that additional text that the search engines will be crawling, as well as if the photos don't load for someone, that they can see what those, what would be in those photos there.
Yeah, and just to expand on that a little bit, we've seen some clubs that actually blog just with like a photo album. So if they have a bunch of photos from a wedding, or even if it's just people modeling just to advertise their weddings, we've seen people just post 10 photos, high quality photos, and actually have more photos than probably words on the page. So there's really no rule of thumb when it comes to images. It just really depends on the type of post, like Victoria said.
Great. All right, well, we will wrap it up. We just wish everyone a happy weekend, and as many of your clubs are just kicking off for the season, we're excited to hear from you guys. If you have any questions about specifics, there's so many areas we could go into about blogging. Please feel free to reach out to either one of us. We'll have our contact information in those follow-up emails for both Rick and I, and we're always happy to talk about any questions that you have as well. So thanks again for joining our webinar, and we hope to see you on our next one.
Thank you, everyone.